All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week. It is the Music is Everything podcast with your host, DJ Elegance. And welcome, iLive Radio community, everybody listening on the outside. We have a really exciting show. If you're new to the podcast, what the podcast is all about is documenting the journey of creatives, of musicians, artists, recording artists, DJs, event planners, and people who work in the club, corporate, wedding, and music industry. And so we've had DJs on, event planners, recording artists, and the idea is to have conversations, to learn about others, and the end goal here is to build up the music and event, corporate and wedding industry, and for people to really understand the passion, the work, and the professionalism, just sort of like the blood, sweat, and tears and devotion that people actually put into their craft, and kind of learning a little bit more about, I guess, the paths that most people have taken. So today I'm really excited to have so many titles: community activist, international recording artist, grassroots organizer, zero gun violence advocate, DT the artist. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So there's so many questions I want to ask you. It's been really cool to see your growth and your journey as an artist. But I guess before we jump into that, I wanted to kind of talk about some of your earlier beginnings, right? Really being some of the ambitious things that you've done in the Six or T-Dot, Toronto, right? And just wondering if you can sort of talk about sort of maybe your earlier days as like a grassroots organizer, political activist, getting so involved in community, working with families, youth, always advocating for a lot of people. I know that that's a big core of who you are, but then kind of noticing you from the outside, like just you transitioning into this like other path. And I guess I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about sort of when did you know that you could do what you're doing now? Like, obviously you're in this place, but like way back then, like it was new, I'm sure. So how, like, when did you get that ding moment where you were like, I think I can do this?
To be honest, it was a gradual process. So I started doing music in 1998. I was 17 at the time, and I was living over on Eglinton, over on Gabion Way. And, you know, at this time, me and my friends, life is basketball, right?
Yes.
So I was on track to get scholarships and go play for university. And I decided I wanted to show off in the game, and I ended up blowing my knee out. So I lost scholarships. I didn't get, to go to university that way. But luckily, I had enough academics, and I was still able to get scholarships to go to a private school and, still do academically. But during that time, I'd always been a youth advocate because I grew up the oldest of four in a single parent house. So I was always big brother dad. And that's where I guess that came from, where my mom was one of those people where if you lived in our community and you didn't have food, like she'd get food. If you had a fight with your parents, you didn't have a place to stay, you stayed at our place. So our house was like, in a sense, like a not-for-profit organization. We were helping people out all the time. I remember, was it a long time ago, there was a blackout in the city of Toronto, and my mom had like this freezer full of meat. So we took out the barbecue and we just barbecued meat for everybody in the community. And like probably 50 people showed up, and we're just handing out hot dogs and hamburgers and steaks and beef and all of that. So it was, I guess it was never really a decision. It was something I saw my mom doing all the time and never put a position to it. So naturally, I kind of morphed into it, where my mom is one of those people, if you're DJing at a wedding, after you're done the show, my mom would help you put away chairs. Like, that's who she is. So it kind of became part of my DNA. So getting into the organizing, it was just one of those things where I've always fought for the little guy. When I played basketball, we'd be at the park. I'll take whoever on my team. I could care less. I was going to win anyway, right? I was the tallest at the park most of the time. I was one of the few guys who could dribble, shoot, dunk, do everything. So, you know, I had girls on my team. I had kids on my team. And, yeah, people wanted to fight me. So, like, how's this guy always winning? So it just became something for me where I always rooted for the underdog. But instead of just rooting for them, I gave them opportunities to, you know, better themselves and create new lanes where people didn't want to let them in.
Right, right. No, that's awesome. I can see how a lot of that would make up like who you are and how I know you to be now, right? So, so I guess with all that being said, then again, reposing that question of kind of transitioning from that community element into the person that you are now as a recording artist, like how did that come about?
So as I said in the answer, I've always been a recording artist. So since the age of 17, I've always been that. But the community work kind of overshadowed the music.
Right.
But in that time, I was still traveling, right? So by the time I was 18, like I was living in New York for a bit and doing music out there. Then I went down to Miami. I came back to Toronto and started doing stuff. Then I went to Alberta to a private school to do college and university. Right. So I had always been in that, but you know, because of different things, you know, being in the church and working in the community, there was this kind of people look down on you if you're a rapper. So eventually, as I started getting more comfortable in my skin and who I am, and you know, being able to identify myself, I started looking at all these people like, listen, you guys are a bunch of sinners yourself. You're trying to point out everybody else. So I'm gonna be who I am and be proud of it. And when I started to do that, that's when my music career started taking off. I started getting international opportunities where people are like, yo, we need this guy over here. And then once they see that, then I was able to again go back to that grassroots organizing and create lanes and opportunities for artists who didn't have those opportunities. So I've had artists come and tour with me into the Caribbean, into the States, across Canada, across Europe now a couple of times. And also, I think having that community organizer background has really been able to focus me and put me into position to help people to get to where they want to go. And at the same time, it puts everything into perspective for myself as an artist, because now I'm able to perform and do certain things, but then watch other people as I'm mentoring them. So you get to do something while growing. The same thing for you, right? With Music is Everything. You're a DJ, constantly DJing and everything, but you're teaching other youth at the same time. And a lot of times it puts a mirror on you where you're like, oh, shoot, I didn't know that you could do that. These young people, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Right? You start to learn things from people who have a different perspective.
The one thing that I've heard with teaching, because yes, I do run an academy for young people, and is that if you teach once, you learn twice. Yeah. So I learned that most recently. So yeah, it's really profound, I think, when that happens, right? And so I guess I attempted to say this, and I don't want you to laugh. So I know that you're signed to the, is it Naj Weeks Joy label? Did I say that even? Okay. Say it again.
Na Weeksiol.
Okay. Yeah. So a label in Poland, and I really recall several years ago, I mean, you did mention traveling to the Caribbean, and I do remember that you became quite a household name in different parts of the Caribbean. And I guess I'm wondering, for people who are listening, up and coming artists, people who want to get involved in travel to enhance their brand, I'm wondering if you could, so two things. One, kind of tell us about how getting signed to a label in Poland, because that's clearly a long way away from Toronto, the six, right? And maybe tell us like some best practices for someone who is looking to make some international connections. Like, what are some things that you could share that would help someone? So it's kind of like a two-part question there, but I know you can handle it.
So to start off, for anyone who's listening, what I'm going to say, you probably don't want to hear, but I'm going to just talk the truth. You have to put in the work. So for me, what I did is, to a lot of people, it looks like I took the longer route, and in some ways I did. But every time I go somewhere, I'm building relationships.
Mm.
So each of those relationships compounds and builds into something else. And then someone says, hey, you know what, let me introduce you to so and so and so and so. And then you're on radio, you're on TV, you're doing the big shows and that kind of thing. But it really comes down to relationships. And then after the relationships is just investing in yourself, right? You can't sit there and be like, oh, well, I'm waiting on DJ Elegance to invest $5,000 into me.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that make sense? Right?
Right.
If I can't sit and say, hey, if you invest this into me, I can make this back for you, then it doesn't make business sense, right? It
Right.
doesn't make financial sense. So getting back to that, a lot of times people are willing to pay for convenience.
Mm.
Now, when you do that, just because it was convenient to you doesn't mean that it's going to give you exactly what you're looking for, right? So when I organize tours and stuff, I create a platform where artists can now get onto radio, sometimes TV, you know, different vlogs and blogs, different shows that they wouldn't have access to, and sometimes open up for big name artists.
Right.
But when they do it, it's really bare bones because most of these guys can't afford to live the way they think they're supposed to live on tour,
Right.
right? Like you're not staying at the Marriott Hotel when you're on tour.
Right. Right.
Right? You're staying at the little motel down the street from from the venue because you want to be able to make sure you have enough money for all the shows, da 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 da. Then when you get to a certain level, the promoters start to pay for your transportation and your accommodations and your per diem and those kind of things. But until you get to that point, nobody cares about you. They're just like, all right, you're 10 minutes of a show.
Yeah. Right.
Right? So from building the relationships, after that, it's really like showing and proving. When you go on stage, like you should have to be carried off of that stage,
Mm.
right? Like you want to leave everything there. And when I performed in Mielno, Poland, the boss of the label was like, man, I've never seen nothing like that before. I need you to be part of the label.
Okay.
So I'm smiling, I'm sweating. I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't think you were serious.
Right.
Right. So then we're going back now, and they bring us back to the label, and I'm sitting down talking with them, and they're like, yeah, no, we want to sign you and we want to work with you. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I become part of the crew now, and then a few months later I'm back in Poland and I'm touring with them.
Mm-hmm.
We did, what was it, about 20 different shows I did with them, and
Wow.
that was just what I was able to be there for. Like they tour constantly.
Wow.
Once COVID gets out of the way, then I'll be back on the road with the boss and the label.
Right.
Now, the crazy thing about that is on last year's album, the label boss put me on one of his songs on his album. So because of that now, I earned myself, or well, he earned me a gold record. So I now have a
Nice.
gold plaque. So I just got to go to Poland and pick it up. So
Nice.
it's really building the relationships and understanding the law of reciprocation. Because if DJ Elegance is doing something for me, how do I get him back? Right? And
Right.
people always want to do that in evil, but in
Yeah.
reality, we gotta do that in good relationships. Okay, so he's doing a show and he's gonna pay me $200 to come and MC and whatever. All right. Well, I'm doing a show at such and such a place at this venue, and it's a good opportunity. Hey, I'm gonna pay you to DJ now. Right?
Right.
So there's reciprocation instead of it being one of those things where it's like, okay, I hooked up DT, when he gets an opportunity, is he gonna think of me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we get a lot of that in Toronto, which is really a bad mentality to have.
Yeah. And I wanted to actually talk with you because it was actually sort of a question that I had uh, I mean, and maybe in some ways you've already answered it, but I mean, what can Toronto artists learn maybe from your approach or other artists that are taking your approach, whereby they're taking their talents, I guess, outside of the boundaries of Toronto, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
what are some other lessons that maybe people can learn? Because we do have this Toronto screwface capital,
Yep.
crabs in a bucket mentality. I mean, I think that kind of exists in a lot of places, but I just find that the scene here is very tricky.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can definitely dive more into that. But I'm just curious, what are some other things that you feel would be helpful to a Toronto artist looking to get their brand out there? I mean, you mentioned
Yep.
relationships. What are some other things that you found are
So one of the big things that I learned from traveling, so spending some time in New York and spending time in Atlanta, is your team is even more important than the music.
Mm.
You can have great music all day, but if you can't get it into anybody's hands, it doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Right? I remember there's a saying that all the best works of art, talents, paintings, inventions are in the grave.
Oh, yeah.
It
Yeah.
never happened.
Yeah.
Right? People took them to the grave. So when you think about it, your team is even more important than the music, because for most of us, the music's easy. I can go in the studio and bang out 10 songs tomorrow.
Right.
Can I get it into the hands of someone who can put it into where my audience is, where they can say, wow, this is good music.
Right.
Right? So the other thing is having people who play their part. You know, nowadays, and I know you've seen this, the DJ wants to be on the video. You know, the artist is also the videographer, and the photographer wants to be a producer. Now you're doing too much, right? We got to get back to a place where people play their position and they do what they do very well. Because right now, everybody feels like I can do it on my own. I don't need anybody. But then all of those people who don't need anybody don't get anywhere.
Mm.
Right? So having a team is really important. Another thing I learned while, you know, just spending time in Atlanta, it's funny because around this time, I'd usually been in Atlanta for the last 5 years, performing, doing different stuff out there. Shout out to my bro Shah, he's out in Atlanta. You know, we do different things, A3C, all of that, because, you know, it's my birthday, so this is when I usually turn up. I go to
Yes.
Atlanta, I
Yes.
perform, and go on tour and stuff. But one of the things I learned down there is, aside from just having a team, it's having that understanding of, okay, what's the next step? What's my plan? What's the direction? Where am I going? So when I go to Atlanta, I go for A3C. But while I'm at A3C, I set up radio interviews, shows, meet with different people, and then build links so that I can get onto other tours and that kind of stuff. So getting back to the question, one of the biggest things you can do is build a team, right? Like it sounds so simple, but it's hard when everybody wants to be everything.
Yeah.
You know, you think back for us now, back in the day when Suge Knight came out and he's like, if you want to be on a label where the producer ain't dancing in your videos, come
It's
over to Death
classic.
Row, you know?
It's classic. Everyone knew exactly who he was talking about.
Oh yeah, he's talking about Diddy, you know,
Yeah.
dancing. Can't stop, won't stop. But there's that reality where for most people, they try to do everything themselves, or what they do is they use people. So what you see end up happening is that those people don't have a good name in most places. So they can't get on to bigger things because people are like, nah, that guy tried to mess me over. So when, you know, when DJ Elegance calls me up and says, hey, DT, I met this guy named so-and-so, and he wants to do a thing with me. And I'm like, yo, nah, that guy's going to mess with your money, right? Now his opportunity just went out the window.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
it's another big thing on top of having a team is having a great reputation. People need to know that you're trustworthy, you're on time, you're committed, you're dedicated. You know, are you going to be able to perform, go to sleep at 4 a.m. and be up at 5 a.m. for a 6 o'clock radio interview? Right? That there's a lot of balancing that has to take place in that.
Right. Right. And do you feel that, I mean, with maybe Toronto artists, I know that in the Six, we have so many up and coming artists. We have so many great producers coming out of the Six. I mean, do you feel that a message like this is getting through to other artists? Like, from your vantage point as someone who is active in the community, like, what do you think is something that would need to change to kind of have maybe more artists building a team, more of the Toronto community pulling together, or does the Toronto community, do they already pull together, but there's something else that's missing that's not allowing more artists to continue to rise and make waves? What are you seeing from your vantage point?
So to answer that question, it's multifaceted. The problem isn't just, oh, it's these young people, they're doing da-da-da. The older generations are just as much at fault, right? Because when you go to Atlanta, like I can run into 2 Chainz in his restaurant, right? I met OT Genesis at Lenox Square Mall. I got to meet Rich the Kid at Lenox Square Mall. I
Okay.
met Offset and Meek Mill at Magic City. You know,
Wow.
if it's kid friendly, I just made it on kid friendly now. So,
No, it's kid
you
friendly.
know, but in Atlanta, like you can meet the OGs. I've met T.I., I've met Pastor Troy. Like you can meet all those guys and talk to them, and they'll say, "Yo, you know what? I normally charge $5,000 for something, but give me $5 bills, book the studio time, and I'll come by and we'll do a track." And
Mm.
then they'll sit there and they'll teach you.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Toronto, let's be honest, we have some amazing OGs, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at Missy Me, you look at Maestro, you look at Cardinal, you look at what's it? You can say Tory Lanez is not really an OG, but Drake. There's guys who are making headway throughout the world,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not as, I guess, reachable as where, like in the States, money rules everything.
Right.
Like you could send a DM to Ti and say, "Yo, I got $20,000," and you'll get a response.
Right.
Yeah, I could do one verse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You could do that in Toronto, and you might not even get a response because I don't have time for this. It's like, but the money's there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something, as I'm saying, it's multifaceted. Where it's just like when you look at, I'm the ambassador for Zero Gun Violence movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Zero Gun Violence, there's no one problem. It's not okay. It's just these kids who have guns.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's also, there's poverty, there's lack of opportunities, there's the feeling of I'm powerful when I have a gun. So there's so many different things. There's lack of education, there's lack of financial and fiscal opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
economic, right? So when you look back at the music for up and coming artists, it's the same thing. There's so many things that aren't pulling together to make it into what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto's supposed to be a music city, partnered with South by Southwest in Austin, Texas,
Yes.
right? Now, while that sounds good in name, we're losing most of our venues,
Right.
right? You go downtown, most of the venues where you could perform are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we a music city when we're not really supporting our artists?
Right.
Okay, let's all apply for a grant. Well, okay, we know that that's a challenging system to go through. What about other ways? Right? So there's so many different ways that aren't being addressed for how an independent up and coming artist can make a name for themselves in the city. And then the other problem is most people in the city all think they can rap. So like, yeah, I could do that too, which don't make sense because most of the people I know, like, man, I could DJ. I'm like, so it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. Right.
Bro, I can DJ. I don't. I have my own turntable. Hey, shout out to my best friend, Mixmaster Caesar. He hooked me up one year for my birthday. Got me a
Yes.
red turntable,
Okay. No, you make some really great points, right? So, I mean, my vantage point obviously is someone who's been around music, clubbing, DJing for also
Mm-hmm.
a really long time. I think from my observation, what I seem to have noticed is that for a lot of artists, particularly in the six to succeed, it seems that that clout that they're looking for that moves and opens doors, it seems
Mm-hmm.
to open more when you leave
Yeah,
and
when
then
you go international.
when you come back. So that's why I always respected and always really thought that what you did as an artist was, I mean, very courageous, very brave. You didn't maybe shrink back. You really went after those opportunities and built
Mm-hmm.
those relationships and really went out there after things. And I remember going to a music sort of symposium so many years ago, and I remember at that time there were a lot of local artists that were really well known or becoming known, and there was quote unquote no names that were in the room, but they were talking about their experiences and performing
Mm-hmm.
in front of audiences. And I myself hadn't heard of them, which doesn't mean anything either way or the other.
Yeah.
But just to kind of hear them speak to the powerful experiences that they had with their music, but actually in a totally different market and not stagnating and staying, I just
Mm-hmm.
really always looked at them with maybe like a little bit of a slight awe of reverence, or kind of saying, you know what I mean? Like, good for you. Like
Yeah.
you didn't just hang around and then get sour, right? So,
Toronto is actually a great place. I call it the petri dish for music success. If
mhm,
you look at, while yeah, a lot of our venues are closing down, but we still do have a lot of venues. Now, the other thing that Toronto has a lot of is open mics. What I
Yes.
found is a lot of artists say they're too big for open mics.
Right.
For me, it's problematic because if you go on a certain night and whichever, you'll most likely find me at an open mic. Because whenever I have new material, that's how I learn my material.
Right.
I'll go and I can make the mistakes at an open mic. They don't care.
Yeah.
Right? But then when you do your stuff and you're amazing, they're like, yo, what are you doing at an open mic, man? You should be on the stadium. It's like, oh, thank you. I'll be on one in 2 weeks. I use this to practice.
Right.
Right? We also have rehearsal factories. It's like $15 to rent it for an hour. It's 2 hour minimum. That's $30.
Right.
3 or 4 you guys can put in and say, okay, each of us is going to take half an hour, and you go and rehearse, and then you give each other honest feedback.
Right. Right.
There's so much opportunity to do that, and then that also creates content where you can show people like, hey, this is my process, so that now when you're doing a show in Buffalo, New York, or you're going to Miami, or you're going to Mexico City, or you're going to Australia, they get the best show possible because you put time into it.
Right.
Instead of just saying, I'm going to go over there and perform.
Right.
Because a lot of people have great music. They don't have any stage presence. Right? So that's something you got to consider. Oh, how comes I'm not building my audience? Well, does your audience get excited? Right? For me, anybody who's been to one of my shows can tell you when DT's performing, he's going to jump off the stage. No matter what, they'll be like, yo, listen, around this song, you're probably going to want to move. He's going to jump off the stage. You're like, nah, man. And then they know, bang, here I go. I'm throwing stuff into the crowd. I'm throwing shirts. I got frisbees sometimes and chocolate bars. And then I jump off the stage.
Right.
And my audience knows, like, yeah, we told you.
Right? And what song would you usually jump into the crowd on?
It depends. So in Poland, I have a song called Siema, which means what's up in Polish.
I was going to talk to you about that song. I like that song. It seems very hype. I was listening to it on Spotify. So like it seems like a really energetic song. So I like that song. So I'm not surprised to hear that.
As soon as my Polish audience hears that song, they go wild, but they know in a part in the song, I say, you see me jump off stage, you know it's going, and then I'm in the audience, Siema, and they're all going crazy because like I'm bouncing off of them, and they're like, yo, this guy's here, he's with us. And then I've had experiences where like people are like, yo, can I have your shirt? I'm like, all right, yeah. And then I'm still singing, they'll give me a marker like, yo, can you sign my arm? I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm just having fun with them.
Right.
A lot of the times after shows, like I'm one of those guys, yo, I don't perform and then leave. That's my audience. I'll sit there and I'll sell CDs and sell T-shirts and I'll sign everything. Everybody who wants a picture gets a picture. Right. Because those people are going to post that picture and tag me. And then I share it to my story and they go crazy again. It's like, he shared me. Wow.
Yeah.
Right? Like these are the guys who allow someone like me to have somewhat of a career, right? To be able to go on the road. A lot of times I tell artists, and this is a nugget for most of you artists, if you think about it, all you need is 100 stable fans. 100. Okay? If you come out with an album and you're selling for $10, you now have $1,000 in your hand. If you come out with a line of shirts and you sell 50 shirts for $20, you have another $1,000 in your hand. So now you're just above minimum wage because you made $2,000 for the month. So then the next month you add another 100. Right? Now that's just selling a CD and a T-shirt. Then you start adding in shows and you say, okay, it's $20 for a show, and somehow you get 200 people to come. You got $4,000 plus the $2,000 from your shirts and the CD. So you got $6,000 now. You can say, okay, I'm going to take $1,800 and pay all my bills. I got $4,200 left. I'm going to put some of that aside and I'm going to invest into my music. Because the next thing now, aside from just having that audience, is you need to go to music conferences. You need to meet DJs. You need to, be a part of different DJ pools. You got to get radio play. When you go somewhere like New School Rules, shout out to Henka and Greg. This is in Rotterdam, the Netherlands.
Okay.
Right? You go somewhere there. For me, I've been able to get on to other big shows now because Hip Hop Camp, which takes place in Czech Republic, the organizer was there at the thing, and they have a thing called organizer speed dating, right? Okay. So you get to meet the organizer of the festival, and you can pitch to them and say, hey, I want to be on your show next year. And based on your pitch, for me, I brought my press kit, and they're like, yeah, you're on the show.
Nice.
Right? Then they have other ones that are in Rotterdam, shows in France. There's Midem, right? You go to Midem to hear about digital music, all of that. Here we have, there's Indie Week in Toronto. Then you could go to Winnipeg. They have Northern Touch Music Festival. Shout out to Shay. He's one of the organizers of that, right? Like there's so many different things. So when you go to these things, not only do you meet DJs and organizers, but you can also meet the media, right? You have opportunities to showcase yourself. A lot of people as artists, they're going out and performing and have no content.
Right.
You get someone to come and you say, hey, hold my phone, take 10 pictures, and I'll post those later. And you tag that person. Shout out to so-and-so. Right? Like there's so many things, like those little tidbits can start to help push you in the right direction.
Yeah, I think, and I really appreciate that, because I think, obviously in my lane as well, like teaching, performing, actually the same individual that we both rub shoulders with is who taught me this, is Elder Louis.
Yep.
Right. So shout out to Louis Marsh. So he would always mention that we have to control the narrative.
Yes.
And so you have to document. And I remember around early 2000, not 2000, like 2010s. So I guess 2013, 2011, 12, 13 is when we really started rubbing shoulders. And that was the lesson that he taught me that was not lost. And then ever since then, yeah, I mean, if you see my social, it's the same thing, always documenting things. And it's always the message that I preach to my students is that, I don't have any content and thing. And I'm like, well, did you do a practice session? Yeah, well, you could have taken some selfies. You could have, if you did a show, if you did a show, you could have recorded something. If you're DJing with a pool of other DJs, you could have taken some crowd shots instead of popping bottles and getting distracted with just senseless conversations, right? So it's always about leveraging the environment that you're in to, like you said, get that content. Because how rich would it be for people to be able to see your experience in the studio, going to the studio, talking about your track, talking about your process, right? So
is just as important, right? I always say the journey is just as important as the destination. Because as an artist, when I come to the podcast, we're not talking about the final destination anymore. We're talking about what were all the things you did to get there.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the most important part. In terms of content, you have to remember that your content is up to people's translations. So for me, sometimes when I'm teaching artists, I'll show them a trick. So in front of everybody, I'll say, okay, I'm going to take a picture of me on this piano and post it, and I'm going to put ... And then I'll say, what do you guys think is going to happen in the comments? They're like, oh, people are going to say flames and whatever. I'm like, no, they're going to create a narrative of what they think I'm doing. So all I did was see a piano and took a picture in front of it. Someone's going to be like, yo, you're practicing for the big concert. Another person's like, oh, DT's making that fire in the studio.
Right.
Yeah, he's playing All My Life by so-and-so, Casey and JoJo. Right? Like, people are going to write down and comment what they think you're doing. Meanwhile, I just happened to walk by a piano and took a picture.
Right. Yeah, right? So seizing those opportunities.
Yeah, but your content is also supposed to display who you are. So when you go through my Instagram, okay, you're going to see me with celebrities. That's cool. But then you might also see me riding go-karts. You might see me eating ice cream or going out to eat somewhere. Right? That's my personality. The people who know me know I'm a foodie. My audience knows I love food. Right? They also know I love go-karting. So when I travel, I will find someplace. I remember in Memphis, Tennessee. Me and my tour manager and everyone who was on tour with me, we went go-karting. And they're just like, yo, you crazy. And then they posted the videos of them, in the go-karts, and all of a sudden they're like, yo, people are commenting.
Yeah.
Because it's not, hey, I have a microphone, I'm an artist. It's, hey, I'm a person, I like go-karting. I like cars. I like, whatever. So then the people who rock with hip-hop, but then also like go-karting or who like ice cream or who like pizza, want to rock with you. So like, hey, this guy likes other things that I like.
Right. No, I think that's important. So I wanted to talk with you a little bit about, you mentioned like what you do in the studio, and I'm curious, like what's your process? Like, what's your process when you're going into your work?
It's interesting that you asked that, because usually, like, when I do features with people, and that, like, the majority of them will say to you and complain, like, I hate writing with that guy. And the reason for that is, like, I'm one of those guys, like, I'll just listen to a beat once, I'm like, all right, and I'll just start writing. I got a hook, I got my verse, and then I'm annoying now because I'm bored. So I
Mm-hmm.
start doing other stuff. I'm watching things on my phone, I'm playing video games. So I'm like, yo, you guys done yet? Like, I can start recording. So for me, like, I've been doing this so long. Actually, before I say that, there's a saying where it says, you're paying me for this amount, not because how well I do, or not because of how fast I can do it, but how well I can do it in that amount of time.
Right.
So if you're paying a graphic designer $500 for something that took them 5 minutes, it's not a matter of just, oh, it only took you 5 minutes. It's how well did I do it in that 5 minutes, right? And
Right.
that's what we put our skill set into. So for me, like, I've been able to sit there and, like, a lot of the features that I've written with people, they're like, man, I hate writing with this guy. Like, he did a track in Atlanta, and everybody's like, all right, yo, we're all going to be on this track. And then in 8 minutes, I was like, all right, I'm in the booth. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, here's a concept for the song. Here you go. Run with it. And I'm in the booth. I record my part. I come out. I'm like, yo, you guys done yet? Like, let's go. We're
Mm-hmm.
recording with my big bro Biggs from Birmingham, England. And I'm like, yo, we ain't got time to waste, man.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where, for me, my process has become something where you can say, hey, DT, I want a song that's about empowerment. I don't even need a beat. I'll just write the song. And then
Mm-hmm.
when you give me a beat, I'll make it work to the beat. Or you
Right.
could say, hey, here's a beat. I need something to that. So I, like, music is such a part of my life where it's not even a process anymore. It's just a journey on each track. Like, I just, all right,
Mm-hmm.
let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to it. I feel where it's going, and then I just go there.
No, that's awesome. So I wanted to, you know what I mean, just doing a little bit more research on you and stuff like that. I wanted to see if you could talk to me a little bit more about uh, what is motivational party trap music? What is that? What does that mean? I've never ever heard that before.
So motivational party trap, I coined that phrase because I'm not a trapper. So I'm not one of these guys who I'm in the hood selling drugs, holding guns, and that kind of thing. When you listen to my music, it's motivational.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, they try and make jokes about me because I don't drink or smoke, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, oh, you don't know how to have fun. But if you've ever gone to a party with me or whichever, I'm the guy dancing in the middle. I'm having fun. I'm turning up and just doing my thing. So I'm like, hey, I'm a motivational party trap guy.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear my music, you want to work out, you want to dance, you want to, just you get into it. There's that energy, and that's what the motivational party trap is creating that energy where it's like, I got to get this done. I got to get this song done. I got to get this presentation done. I got to get this mix done. I got to, do this last set. I got to do these last reps. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just motivating me. And then a lot of times I talk about money in my stuff, but I'm not talking about, I got $1 million and da da da. It's like, yo, I got this amount. I'm trying to stack it to this amount and do this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
the average person can listen to it and say, yeah, I want to do that too.
Right. Right.
Right? Don't nobody hustle like me. I'm all about that paper. Don't
Mm-hmm.
nobody grind like me. I'm a paper chaser. I put in work, I go hard. Finish just how I start. My money working is smart. I'm a scrappy kid, I got heart. Nowhere in there did I say I'm rich.
Right.
I said, I want money. I'm going to work for money. And this is what I'm going to do for money. And I'm not
Yeah.
going to give up. Mm-hmm.
Right. No, I like that. I think it's good to have like a message in what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, and I think I'm always all about positivity as well. So I like that. I like I said, I never heard that before, but I really like it. So I'm wondering if you could talk to us about uh, some of the producers that you've worked with, because
Oh,
I hear you
yeah.
kind of shout out some different guys on various tracks. So maybe if you could, maybe name drop a couple of the producers you've worked with, maybe what you like what you like working with them, like why it's special.
Okay. Uh, so to start off, I got to shout out The Six. That's my main producer. He and I have been working together about 2 years now. So the whole motivational party trap movement came from me working with him. He just created this sound, and I went on it, and we started blending together, and then that's where that sound came from. I got to shout out 1702. He was a young man I started mentoring. He'd come by the studio, and we just started building some stuff. AWOL, shout out to AWOL. It's an AWOL thing. One of my next EPs that's coming out was actually produced by AWOL. So he came in and he did his thing, and now we're about to drop a whole bunch. I gotta shout out Sir Me, who's in Poland, who's the label producer. I call him the the Polish Dr. Dre. He's amazing with it. Oh yeah. So he actually produced the track that I was on the Label Boss's album.
Okay.
So him and the Label Boss are responsible for me getting my first gold plaque. So shout out NWJ and Voyat.
Nice.
Yeah, those are the main producers. It's a little quiet now. We're just starting to get into the process, but I'm gonna be doing something with 1985. Most people know who he is, so we're working on something, getting something together. And yeah, just if you're a young producer and you want to work with people, let me give you a word of advice. Don't spam our emails and our DMs. Hit us up one time and say, hey, I researched your type of music and I have a beat that I think you could work with. Then when I listen to that, when I like that beat, then I'm gonna ask you for more. But if you spam my email and send me 50, most of the time I don't listen to any of them. I'm like, nope.
Right.
I'm not gonna listen to your music to figure out if you have anything that I like.
Right. Yeah. But people are busy. I know I've gone on some rants as well when it comes to artists. I guess for you as an artist, you get the producers coming to you. Sometimes as a DJ, I get artists also that just send something, but sometimes I think for me, I'm okay with the fact that someone is randomly reaching out to me, but I think DJs typically want to receive that music with like an instrumental version, like a clean version, a street version.
A DJ pack.
Yeah, DJ pack, exactly. And so, yeah, exactly. And so sometimes it's just like, here's my track. And I'm like, well, I mean, if you know the types of events that I do personally, even though I'm a DJ, I'm a very proud mobile DJ. I do so many different types of events for different types of audiences. And unfortunately, profanity is not something that I do anyway with my music when I play. But definitely in those environments, in a corporate setting, a wedding, a community event or festival, like those are not the tracks that are appropriate for those environments, right? So sometimes people unfortunately miss the boat, right, with their opportunity.
One of the other things I've learned in having to reach out to DJs myself, between myself and my team, is my goal is to make your job easier. So I reach out and say, hey, DJ Elegance, I have this new track. It's called Flip. It mixes well with Migos track, such and such, or 50 Cents in the club, or T.I.'s track, such and such. So now when you look at the BPM, you look at those tracks, you're like, okay, I might play those tracks. Hey, let me fill that in.
No, exactly.
So when you see the response from the crowd, you're like, I'll do that again.
Yeah. No, that's very clever. And I think that does help. I actually had a guy reach out to me not too long ago, and what was his name again? It was find it here. It was I want to get the last name right. Yes, that's what I thought. So Mitchell Hawkins, he's I guess a producer working with a group out of Cleveland, and like his whole approach coming to me was just proper. So he was working with a group called Captive with instead of TIVE, it's a 3 on the end. And the track was, I guess they did sort of a cover and then they did an original, but just his approach with the email and everything was really proper. So Mitchell, if you're listening to the show, respect to you. I mean, it was just the approach was everything, right? And how he kind of set everything up. The bio was proper. The songs were there. And he gave some allusions to, again, like you did, like mentioning some other artists. So it did give me a bit of a picture now when I'm listening to that track of maybe something similar that I can expect. That would kind of warm me warm me up to the group a little bit more than just an email dump saying, hey, play my song, I'm this person, right? So
Yeah.
So I guess I appreciate you sharing that, like some of the artists that you've worked with and stuff. And I guess I'm wondering, there's a bit of a slightly different direction that maybe going with things. I mean, you've talked with us a little bit about the importance of team. You've talked to us
Mm-hmm.
a lot about the approach, just with the power of networking and building those relationships and really investing and stuff. And I'm wondering if you can maybe speak to how do you feel the internet has impacted maybe the music business, but impacted like your brand in particular?
Ooh, that's interesting because you kind of veered from where I thought you were going to go. Um,
Ha 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 ha.
so the internet has been an amazing minefield. So
Mm,
it's been great because you now have access to a worldwide audience, but you have to be able to get in front of that audience and present something that's worthwhile to them. Meanwhile, there's 10 million other people just like you trying to do the same thing. But
mm-hmm.
at the same time, like during COVID, I haven't been able to go to Poland to tour. But what's been amazing is I will get these random phone calls because Poland is 6 hours ahead of us. So at like 2 o'clock in the morning, my Instagram is ringing and I'm like, what the hell? And I'll answer it. And there's 50 people jamming to one of my songs in Poland.
Oh,
And they're
wow.
turning up, Shema, Shema. I'm like, yo, this is amazing. And I'll personally shout out each person there. And I'm like, hey, thank you guys, and da da da. And now they have an experience because first off, they called and, for most artists, they wouldn't answer. Whereas me, I'm like, okay, I'll answer this. What's
Right.
going on here?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, the music's going and then it pauses because everyone's just like, oh, he answered. All right. So now it's like, hey, what's up, everybody? And then they're like, yo, we're listening to your song. And then they play it again and everyone starts dancing or whatever. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. So then I'm like, hey, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Each of you guys send me a message and I'll tag you in whatever, or I'll share it to the story and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Because the only reason I get to sell music and travel and that kind of thing is because I have an audience. And the reason
Right.
I have an audience is people like the music. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have something that people are listening to, then you don't really have an audience.
Mm-hmm.
So with the internet, it's made the world that much smaller,
Right.
right? So while we're talking to you, we could say, hey, let's hit up DJ Power, who's in such and such a place right now. He might be in Australia, and loop him in.
Right.
And now, you're in Toronto, he's in Australia, and someone somewhere else, right?
Right.
So there's so many opportunities now. And the other thing is it's been great for mentorship. And
Mm.
that's one key. I'll tell all of you guys who are listening, mentorship is so important. You
Mm-hmm.
got to get someone who's already been on the road that you're walking instead of having to carve your own path in that right. Walk
Right.
down that road and then start to carve your path as you figure yourself out. I've been able to speak to someone like Henka Maduro, who's the organizer of New School Rules, right? I can hit up my bro, Dio Gibson. He's
Mm.
another good connect. You know, some of the people I work with out in the States, my bro Black Gotti from Rap 98, he's out in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
You reach out to someone like him and then you find out, oh, I can get on radio, I can get printing, all these different things. So the internet has been great for creating audiences or finding your audience, mentorship, uh, you know, as well as opportunities. Because if you remember back in the day, if you wanted to get on a show, you had to impress somebody.
Right.
Now, if you want to get on a show, you just look up, all right, what shows do they have in Texas? And you can get a list and just submit to all of them
Right.
and get on and not know anybody. And then you go down and you're at a music conference performing at some shows.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, it's I think a powerful tool if people use it the right way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate you sharing that. So I guess you know what I mean. I'm curious, like what's next for you? I know prior to us kind of connecting to do this call and stuff, you had mentioned that you got a new single coming out and stuff
Yep.
like that. So yeah, talk to us about that, and then maybe other things that you're working on.
So I have a new, it's not really a single. It's more what everybody calls a freestyle. I took Drake's 5 a.m. in Toronto beat and I did a track called 5 a.m. in Warsaw. So I had Steel DC with me, and we were out in Warsaw, Poland. So we shot the video, and it looks pretty well put together, which I must say. It has the NWJ logo. So after that, I have my album coming out with the Six. We're working on the name and just selecting the tracks and that kind of thing right now. On top of that, I have the EP coming out with AWOL. I have an EP coming out with 1702. Then we'll be working on touring once COVID decides to go away for a bit so we can travel the world. I'm working on shows in Australia, Dubai, Europe, Africa. So just trying to touch the rest of the whole world and
Wow.
get the music out there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to do as many features as possible. Working on a few celebrity features, which, once those happened, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll be
Is there?
very happy to share.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you: is there anyone that you can share, or is it hush hush until it happens?
Most of them are hush hush because I'm building the team. But one I can share is my big brother Mike Hans, who he was the protege of Sean Price and
Okay.
Thurman. So he's out in New York. Shout out to him. I actually met him a couple years ago in where was it again? Hamburg, Germany, at the
Okay.
Golden Shoes Hip Hop Film Festival. And yeah, he just became like my big bro. So shout out to him. We worked on a couple of tracks. He's gonna have me on some shows out in New York and that kind of thing, and then I'm gonna bring him on tour across Canada, and then we're gonna hit up Europe together and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
No, it sounds exciting. It sounds like you really spreading your wings, right, and
Yeah.
really breathing life into a lot of connections and a lot of people around you. So yeah, I'm learning a lot here as we're doing the pod.
Yeah. One thing I gotta add is we talked about the OGs in the city earlier. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I grew up in the generation right after the OGs, so I knew all of them, but never really got to do anything with them. So
Mm-hmm.
now, like, I'm working on something with Rochester. I have a song with Thrust. I have a song with Ray Robinson. I got one
Okay.
with Drew. So we hitting up some of the legends, and we're gonna be releasing some of that stuff, shooting videos, all of that. So the song I did with Ray Robinson called "Hustlin'," I have Bonnie Godiva, who's huge out in New York and different places. She was on Wild 'N Out. She's on Smack, King of the Dot. That's a battle rapper.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's the three of us connecting and collabing on that track.
Nice.
So
So
yeah, it's a lot of big things happening.
sounds like you're busy. The wheels are turning,
Yes, sir.
despite what we're going through right now. So kudos to
Mm-hmm.
you. Kudos to you. So I guess this is a bit of a different question before I kind of start winding our time down
Mm-hmm.
to this last section that I call rapid fire. I'm just curious. This is kind of more of a random question. What would you be doing right now if it wasn't for your music career?
Oh, if it wasn't for my music career?
Yeah, like what would you be doing?
Ooh. That's a good one.
I've never heard you so quiet.
I don't think I've ever gave that any thought. I might be a professional go-kart driver.
Yes, yes. I love
Yeah.
it. I
Or
love it.
I might be a writer for an international food magazine or something.
There you go. There you go. I like that. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump into the next section. For everybody listening, this is Music is Everything podcast. We're here with DT, the artist. He's sharing his early journey from grassroots organizer into artist, international recording artist. And he's been dropping some gems with us, sharing the power of networking, leveraging the internet, making those connections, work ethic, integrity, and then also just his brand and his style, motivational party trap music. Get familiar with that. I love that. So we're going to get into this last section. I call it rapid fire. And essentially what it is really is just, I ask you a question, and I don't mean to think about it too much. Just give me just a response, like a one-word response pretty much for what just kind of comes across your heart or into your mind. So what is one message you would give to your fans?
One message I'll give. Enjoy life.
Okay.
Literally, just enjoy life.
All right. What's one Toronto attraction everyone should see?
Bobby Sue's mac and cheese.
Okay.
Yeah, look it up. Amazing
Okay.
food.
Okay.
Get that buffalo chicken mac and cheese.
Oh, sounds good.
Oh yeah.
um, Here's another question for you. Do you sing in the shower?
All the time.
Okay. And then if you do, which songs?
Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, jeez, all the old guys.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Okay.
legends. This is
Um,
man's world.
um, what's one tip for up and coming artists? You shared some, but is there anything else maybe you'd add?
Build real relationships. Don't use people. Build real relationships and reciprocate. Because when you do that, you can have 20 years of relationship and resources and connections instead of a few months.
Okay. Appreciate that. Still dropping gems. Your favorite shoe?
Oh, got to be my gold Kobe's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The biggest crowd you've ever entertained?
50,000.
Wow. An artist that you would want to work with? I mean, you've mentioned
50
a
Cent.
lot. 50 Cent. Okay.
50 Cent, that's my guy right there.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's so amazing to see from sort of our humble and early beginnings, kind of seeing your growth, as I mentioned. You know what I mean? Again, from all the stuff you've been doing in the community and still doing, but into an international recording artist, and just kind of seeing your growth and your energy and your passion behind what you're doing. I know that there was a lot of people maybe in the early stages, maybe even still now, who I think were maybe very doubtful because this side of you was not as pronounced as it is now. But yeah, kudos to you for just continuing to march forward, right? So I guess two more questions is any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience, with our listeners, anything else that you wanted to just kind of share in general? Could be really related to anything.
As a final thought, I would say if you're going to be an artist, a producer, whatever have you in the music industry, go in full force. When you're working your job, for every piece of money you make after you pay your bills and whatever, make sure you invest something into your craft. Get the new Serato, get the new Logic Pro, buy yourself a microphone. If you're an artist and you don't own a microphone, then you're not really that serious of an artist. You should own a microphone that you can practice with. Invest into getting your own t-shirts. And invest into your music. It's great that you can put it online, but most people who want to support artists will still buy a CD. Right. They'll buy a USB key with your music on it. They'll buy a record and never listen to it, but have you sign it just so that they can say, hey, if this guy blows up, I have that record.
Right.
So really put your all into it and then build with a team who wants to see you win. Because what I got the experience to learn was most people, as you said, when you're on the route, people don't always see what you see. So for me, when I was starting, people were just like, oh, this guy's not taking it serious and whatever. And then now I've had people approach me like, man, I wish I'd stuck with you, when you said you were going to do this. Like, hey, that's fine. But, a lot of the times it's not your day ones that's going to be rocking with you when you get success. It'll be your day 82s.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point. I think one thing that a mentor told me was that sometimes it takes people a while to see you in this new light, and so they are sometimes hating, sometimes jealous, or sometimes they're also like just reserved, or they're just waiting to see because not saying this about you, but some people in general, like they just jump so many times from so many, they're a financial advisor, now they're a telemarketer, now they're in a multi-level marketing business, now they're selling knives, now they're selling back to insurance again. So some people flip-flop so many times that it does take people a while. But I do like what you said about just give it 100% and just dive in.
Let me counter what you're saying. As a DJ, how much does it cost me to support you? to show up to your event. Maybe $10 for a ticket price or whatever. Hey, could you listen to this mix? Could you share it? Right? It really isn't that expensive to support the people.
Right. No, it's next to nothing in some
Right?
cases, right? So yeah.
So when we look at the amount of people that we know collectively, if we all said, hey, you know what? Right now it's artist XYZ's turn. I'm sending this out to all of my people. Let's all share this guy and get the world to know who he is.
Right.
How much money did anybody put into that?
Yeah.
How much time did anybody put into that? Right? Didn't even take a full 2 minutes.
Right. No, it's a good point. It's a very good point. So this is the last question really is, where can people follow you so that they can stay in contact with you? They can buy a CD, they can buy merch, they can support you, they can, share stuff. They can say, hey, here's a cool artist, so-and-so XYZ, you should work with this guy, or making a connection. Like, where can people find you?
I can be found everywhere at DT TheArtist. So at DT the Artist. That's on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. Everywhere is at DT the Artist. And one thing I forgot to mention is I do have a couple other projects coming out, which are collaborations with other artists. So shout out to Chief Rekka. I have a 4-track EP coming out with him, and then Solo Key, or actually 416 Solo now. You rebranded. So I got a project coming out with him. And then hopefully, all depending, with my big bro Mike Hands, we might have a full project instead of just a song. So all depends on if he's feeling rappy, as he says.
Awesome. So there you have it, folks. We want to thank DT the Artist for coming on the Music with Everything podcast. You just heard it from him first. So many collaborations, features, projects that he's working on. Please make sure that you check him out at DT the Artist on all social streaming platforms, and support a brother. Yeah. All right. Listen, it's been great chatting with you, and we definitely want to have you back on again at some point in the future, and continued success.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
All right. Take care.
Bye. Music is everything.
I want to thank everyone for listening to the iLive Radio podcast with our special guest, DT the Artist. Right now, we're at the top of the hour. We're going to get into a hour-long mix of some R&B joints, some slow jams, and whatever else fits the mood. Once again, this is Music is Everything podcast with your host, DJ Elegance. Let's go.
DJ Elegance. Dripping like a leaky faucet. Now she got me tripping, how she grip it, that ain't I done lost it. No more YOLO whipping, soda sipping, pimping, tricking, flossing. Only mission is to find the right position for her body. Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, how she compliment my ballin'. Jason Witten, tunnel vision, she gon' catch it when I toss it. Better than ATL, and I brought her to New Orleans. We go together well, like we caramel and chocolate. Caramel, dripping in my bed. Yeah, you know what's going through my head. I'm thinking about you tonight. Thinking about you up for love. Caramel, dripping in my bed. Yeah, you know what's going through my head. I'm thinking about you. Yes, sir. Can't get this off me, but nigga poppin' Molly. Why her call it? Money, honey, come and go. Yeah, like this. And baby, when I take off all your clothes, you know we lit. Can't let it bottle. Say you can handle it, good, but can you handle me? Drunk all night, drinking that Hennessy. Can you handle it, good, but can you handle me? Drunk all night. Ooh, yeah. Can you handle me? Can you handle me? Can you handle me? Can you handle me? I'm lit. Drunk all night.
Let me wrap you in my presence, shawty. I can see you in my future. Probably me and you should have a private.
Oh yeah.
Love the way you make that tumble. Naughty.
DJ Elegance.
Shawty, I can see you in my future. Probably me and you should have a private party. Love the way you make your tumble. So naughty.
You know what? We got bags like a glad boy. Know you wanna ride, saddle up. I can really see us in the tabloids. Tell me, have you ever been with a bad boy? You deserve a palace, somewhere on Star Island. I could call the pilot. You know how we be private. Wrist work, cash for it. Rollie with the red glass on it. Keep 200 on the dashboard. Body tatted like your passport. Know you wanna run around with that boy. Chase on chubby, not a fat boy. And I ain't worried about your past, shorty.
Let me unwrap you in my presence, shawty. I can see you in my future. Probably me and you should have a private party. Love the way you make that tumble. Naughty. Let me wrap you in my presence, shawty. I can see you in my future. Probably me and you should have a private party. Love the way you make your tumble.
Either arms in a bar, dunk in a trunk. Back that up, fill up on it like beep beep. Girl, take it out, go a little bit harder. Come with the lights out, leave it on the TV. Getting me started, looking on your body, telling me not to say nothing, you don't wanna see me.
Alright.
My lips are sealed.
Baby, you gotta put in work. Gotta put in work. If you want me to put you first, yeah, with the pussy on me, what I deserve, you gotta put in work.
Pennies on the floor, we don't need clothes. Can I get a repeat of the show? Young Jacquees, me and your cheese, bumping that CB, ride it slow. Go 9 to 5.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, let me put it in drive. I guess when I'm in that skirt. Yeah. Ignore your phone, tell your friends, call back. When you leave to go home, turn around, come back. Silk sheets on the bed. I know you just got your hair done and it's late. Don't be scared, I'll get it redone, little babe. You know I'm paid. You come first. And that's for sex and life, whatever works. Yeah. I rip your bra off, you rip off my shirt. soon as you step on my turf, I beat it like it's percussion. Come let me put in work. Dunkin' a trunk. Back that up, fill up on it like beep beep. Girls, take it out, go a little bit harder. Come with the lights up, leave it on the TV. Getting me started, looking on your body, telling me not to say that when you wanna see me. Baby, you gotta put in work. You gotta put in work. You keep calling me over. Hope you not with the games that you off. It's all over. Late nights, I'm never sober. Yeah. Call my car, call her Uber. I don't wanna drive. Yeah. I've been OD. Yeah. Your body's what I'm missing. You better, you know it. And I'ma need you to show it. Are you ready for me now? And ride around on this merry-go-round. Baby, let's make it official. She got humps in the bone, dunk in the trunk. Back that up, fill up on it like beep beep. Girls, take it out, go a little bit harder. Come with the lights off, even on the TV. Getting me started, looking on your body, telling me not to say that when you wanna see me. My lips are sealed. Baby, you gotta put it wide.
Wicked.
The song you bud.
As we stare, we both seek and hope to find real love, purified. Use your heart and not your eyes. Baby, just relax and ride. If you got time, then I got time. Free your thoughts and watch them fly.
your thoughts and watch them fly. If you believe me, all your dreams will come true in time. Oh,
use your heart. My goodness, how it seems like yesterday. She crushed you, hurt you in the strongest way. You've hurt so long, reward comes to those who've cried. Real love purified.
just a second, I looked at my watch is down, and you love me, pamper me just like a child. As we lay, I close my eyes and I smile, and to real love purified.
Use your heart, not your eyes. Baby, just relax and ride. Baby, if you got time, then I've got time.
If you got the time, then I got the time.
And watch them fly. Use your heart and not your eyes. Ooh, use your heart and not your eyes. Use your heart, baby, so that they can see, what is in me for you.
Use your heart,
Baby.
On the crosstown with the top down, sound fading out the back seat. Alright, being the shorty to be, she's flashing me thighs, flowing through her hair. Baby, we can take it there, take it there. But first I gotta make my rounds. Baby, slow down. My crib's on the other side of town. But from the look in her eyes, she was hypnotized. Rubbed her hands on my chest and started getting undressed. Tell me why, baby.
breaking it when you see me looking dip. Or could it be the ice you see? But you tell me that you really
Feeling me, feeling me, feeling me, baby. Oh,
Nobody told you that I got it on lock.
so tight, so tight.
Why you just can't
stop.
I'm thinking that it's all about me.
All about me.
Could it be?
60-inch flat TV, what satellite DVD, whatever you need. I got the bubbles in the tub with the back up. Keep the silk sheets laid when we make love. Oh, girl, I wanna hit it in the worst way. After that, you'll be coming back like every day. Send me back to your girls with something else to say. How I had you wait till the good days mine.
Breaking it when you see me looking dip.
Oh,
Or could it be the ice you see? But you tell me that you really didn't.
I've gotta know right now.
Nobody told you that I got it on lock.
So tight, so
Tell me
tight.
why you just can't
Just
stop.
can't stop.
I'm thinking that it's all about me. What could it be?
What could it be? What could it be?
Rap to you real quick.
DJ Elegance.
You're in the mix.
Lord is flower bound, firefly. Take me high. I can teach you what you
Flower bomb. Let me guess your favorite fragrance. And you got that bomb. I'm trying to detonate you. No disrespecting, baby. Just try and make you smile. Try to keep my spirits up. That's why I lace it down. Try to keep your spirits up. Lil vodka, whatever. Took it forever to get dressed. I acknowledge your effort. So I clap for her. She deserves an applause. Shawty working so hard. She deserves that baton. Shawty, where your baton? Racing through my mind like she heard that. I got that work. I heard that she been on strike. Care to tell? I read your mind. She been on them dollars first. Caramel macchiatos when Shawty get into work. I can be your boyfriend, be your nigga, or a friend with perks. I'm just trying to work that. They just trying to work your nerves. I'm just trying to read your mind. I'm just trying to feed you mine. I'm just trying to give you light. They just trying to leave you blind.
fantasy.
eyes, destination to her thighs. And I hate to tell you too much, cause I stay with too much pride. And we way too young to know love. Maybe not, but we don't need no rush. Don't believe in love at first sight, but believe in love at first. Can I be with you just one night? I can wear you out inside. I can tell you like persistence, but I make you come and try. I just think we need one night. Can't decide if I can't right. Easy baby, my thing tight, but that lotus flower just ain't right. I ain't thinking I ain't right. Can't decide, but I can't fight. Easy baby, you the bomb and all, but I be damned if I do not land mine. Or at least try. Can I speak up? Was it peace out? Can we eat lunch? Can we take shots with your flavor? Flat drinks we call A-cups. I just think I need one night. Slightly more if it's done right. With that gorgeous face, I don't know your name. It ain't important, babe, cause I'ma call you mine.
Fantasy.
Bro.
I feel it when you dance with me. It's feeling like you need to be my lady, my baby. Yeah. Can't you see? I'm talking about eternity. Tell me, would you care to be my lady, my baby?
50 bands later, you the one I want.
Oh, yeah.
Later, you the one I want. 150 bands later, you the one I want. 200 bands, baby, you the one I want. I got it now, yeah, got it now. Yeah. I prayed for 50s, but now I throw hundreds now. Yeah. At first you was likey, now you love it now. Huh. First I was touchy, now I'm touching down. Oh. I don't think they understand. I don't tell them about our plans. No, oh. Don't tell left hand about the right hand. Don't show your colors unless it's vibrant. All moving silence. 50 bands later, you the one I want. 100 bands later, you the one I want. 150 bands later, you the one I want. 200 bands, baby, you the one I want.
Man, I make you feel some type of way. When I give it to you night and day. Man, I make you feel some type of way. When I give it to you night and day. Turn you to a fresh. Make you call me Zaddy. Come over to the floor. Give you rounds. Make you want more. Drop it, make you wobble. Girl, I love it when you poppin' it. Gobble, need that bubble. Get the genie out the bottle, yeah. Make it feel good. Won't you knock on wood tonight? Yeah. So careful what you wish for. You might get it. Let me show you something different. Yeah, man, I make you feel some type of way. Oh wait. When I give it to you night and day. Day and night, I know what to do. Man, I make you feel some type of way. When I give it to you night and day.
I be up in some things you ain't gotta know. I be working overtime.
Oh, yeah.
You been on my mind, can't keep my body
DJ Elegance.
Independent, been doing the most. They just in my line when they feeling all alone. We don't coincide, you somebody no one else know. Money on my mind, and that's just how it goes. Lonely on my life, and that's just how it goes. Say what's up for me. Pour one cup for me. Don't need company. Got these bitches in my bag and they want a piece like get the bag, then they come through. Yesterday they act like they never knew you. Make this money dream come true. Up all night, why you acting brand new? Get the bag, then they come through. Yesterday they act like they never knew you. Make this money dream come true. Up all night, why you acting brand right. These be flossing and flexing for the limelight. Can't help that I'm winning and focus when the time's right. An independent woman do the that I like. They just in my life when they feeling all alone. We don't coincide, you somebody no one else know. Money on my mind, and that's just how it goes. Lonely on my life, and that's just how it goes. Say what's up for me. Pour one cup for me. Don't need company. Got these in my bag and they want a piece like. Get the bag, then they come through. Yesterday, they act like they never knew you. Make this money dream come true. Up all night, why you acting brand new? Get the bag, then they come through. Yesterday, they act like they never knew you.
DJ Elegance.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
If you want me back, let me know. This time I won't keep it on the low. I wrote this cause you won't pick up the phone. Don't say nothing, girl, just sing along. If you miss me, like I be missing you. Soon as I get you out my system, girl, I relax. Sweating in the cold, I can't relax. Tell me, do you miss me? Like I be missing you. Soon as I get you out my system, girl, I relax. Sweating in the cold, I can't relax. Phantom bros, and some clothes, and some stones, and it glows. Diamonds like a light, I wanna show you. Show you that I'm different than before. Roll this cause you won't pick up the phone. Don't say nothing, girl, just sing along. If you miss me, like I be missing you. Soon as I get you out my system, girl, I relax. Sweating in the cold, I can't relax. Tell me, do you miss me? Like I be missing you. Soon as I get you out my system, girl, I relax. Sweating in the cold, I can't relax, babe. Sweating in the cold, I can't relax, babe. I was singing when you called, hit me back, babe. Girl, you know that I would give anything to get you back, babe. Get you back, babe. Take me back, babe. If you miss me, you were missing me, like I be missing you. Soon as I get you out my system, girl, I relax. Sweating in the cold, I can't relax. Tell me, do you miss me? Like I be missing you. Soon as I get you out my system, girl, I relax. Sweating in the cold, I can't relax. If you
things for certain. Need you right here in my arms, baby, I'm yearning. But I think I got a bone to pick with you. Lately I've been wondering what's with you. I need you to hear me, baby. Wake up, love. These sheets won't comfort me, please. Wake up, love. I might just come for me, but I just need you on me. Show me some attention. I want you to wake up, love. Hear me, baby. It's like a turban. I can wrap my head around this, but I need your brown skin. I'm like India when I'm not pissed with you. Know how to keep it saying it's you. I want you to wake up, love. These sheets won't comfort me, please. love. Hear me, baby.
Bright lights are only used for the dark, lil' mama. Drama gon' play a part, pain is art, lil' mama. It just get retouched, hung up on the walls. You wanna sell it later, then cool, we taking it all, lil' mama, it's real. I'd save you from a burning building. Out where the burns is gold medals, turn you on to remember. Even though you scarred me, I took it, so I know the feeling. But it, let's build this to the ceiling. I'm really fucking with you. It's a whole lot more than a makeup at the breakup. So don't fight back, just write back, baby. I know I demand a lot, and you don't like that. So let's just leave the baggage. I'ma hop us on this flight back. Get right back, right?
Wake up, love. This sheets won't comfort me, please wake up, love. I might just come for me, but I just need you to hold me. Need your affection. Wake up, love. Hear me, baby.
iLive Radio. Music is Everything podcast. Let's go.
You feel the vibe is contagious. Look in your eyes, it's dangerous. Grateful I had all the patience. I know you going through some changes.
Yes, yes.
Ooh, no, we ain't perfect, but we them close. Ooh, you give me something I can pay for. No angel, but you got a halo. When it's nights like this, I really wanna be right here. I really wanna take you there. When it's nights like this, I really wanna be right here. I really wanna take you there. It was nights like this, feeling right like this. I never really spent no time like this, Your second time at the crib knowing I might not hit. You said what I look like my chick, yeah. Looking in your eyes, this dangerous. You got that wet, call it angel dust. I done put so many diamond chains on you, they get tangled up. I never felt like this is strangers, Got your ex hit a calling, but he can't do much. Cause you with the kid now, LMA booed up. And all you gotta do is call and watch that Ray pull up. Under the stars since they throwing all the shade on us. Facts. Woo. You feel the vibe is contagious. Look in your eyes, it's dangerous. Grateful I had all the patience. I know you're going through some changes. You taking pictures, know your angles. Ooh, no, we ain't perfect, but we damn close. Ooh, you give me something I can pay for. That's what it's like loving you. Feel a vibe, I'm deep inside, yeah. You loving me, ooh, I let you ride, yeah. At first you curved me, I let you slide in. Your hips so curvy, you let me slide in, ooh. And it was over once I flipped you over. Relation goer, we come through just like Beyonce Hova. This the Hermes money, this ain't no fashion over. You said your ass had you depressed, and I'm just glad that's over. Cause now you rockin' with a real one. And when I'm in it, you be maxing on 1,000,000. And when I hit it back to back, you make me still come. You got the people hating on us, we gon' kill them. That's facts. You feel the vibe is contagious. Look in your eyes, it's dangerous. Grateful I had all the patience. I know you're going through some changes. You taking pictures, know your angles. Ooh, no, we ain't perfect, but we damn close. Ooh, you give me something I can pay for. That's what it's like loving you. Hey, you know you bad, babe. You know I laugh at these shorties that try to attach, babe. You from the project, but so exotic. Just give me all of that, so many options. Girl, you got me calling all these different numbers. Why you being selfish? You know that I want you. You really been working. You deserve a Birkin. Girl, you so contagious. Then that's just so dangerous. You feel the vibe is contagious. Look in your eyes, it's dangerous. Grateful I had all the patience. I know you're going through some changes.
We in the mix. iLive Radio. Music is Everything podcast.
You give me something I can pay for.
Oh my God.
You gon' make me laugh. I'ma pull it off the lot with cash, fill it up with gas. I don't really think about your past when I puff and pass. Baby, this will knock you on your ass, make you do a dance, make a chick forget about her man, make you understand, help you reconsider all your plans. Hope you never land in the sky, yeah, we never coming down again.
Never coming down again, never coming down again, never down again, never coming down again, in the sky, and we never coming down again.
answered all my prayers. Every day I stay high, say hi to my haters on my way up. Ain't no way that you could ever get me down. We ain't the same, I'm moving different now. I am in the midst of an ascension now. Lifted and I'm drifting on a cloud. Never coming down again. Down again, never coming down again. Never doubt again, never coming down again. Down again, in the sky and we never coming down again, yeah.
Where you going, what you drinking, what you saying? We can roll up from the beaches to Japan. I'm Khalifa.
Nice to meet you, I'm Janae.
You really poppin' now, you with you for the fam. Where you going, what you drinking, what you saying? We can roll up from the beaches to Japan. I'm Khalifa.
Nice to meet you, I'm Janae.
You really poppin' now, you with you for the fam.
Never coming down again. Down again, never coming down again. Never doubt again, never coming down again. Down again, in the sky and we never coming down again.
You are now rocking with DJ Elegance.
Wrecking the set.
Oh, yeah.
Makes me weak in my knees, baby. No matter what you do, no matter what you do, I still believe, way more to see, more to us, more to life, more than what I've been given. Where's my healing? I keep crying for love, but it won't wipe my tears. Yeah, I keep crying for love, but it won't wipe my tears. And it's crazy how I'm still so emotional, still giving up control, still ever yours. I can't fight back, I don't want to, baby. I can't fight back, I don't want to, baby. 'Cause I'm always a heartbreak too late. Chilling with some from the past, trying to get what I ain't never had. I keep crying for love, but it won't wipe my tears. I keep crying for love, but it won't wipe my tears. And it's crazy how I'm still so emotional, still getting out control, still forever yours. I can't fight back, I don't want to, babe. I can't fight back, babe. 'Cause I'm always too late. Chilling with some from the past, trying to get what I ain't ever had. Just the thought of you, just the thought of you makes me weak in my knees, baby. No matter what you do, no matter what you do, I still believe, way more to see, more to us, more to life, more than what I've been given. Where's my healing? Ooh. 'Cause I'm always chilling with some from the past, trying to get what I ain't never had. I keep crying for.
are now rocking with DJ Elegance.
Oh, yeah.
Are you tired of I call? I've been waiting.
Baby.
You say you got me, I'm calling it off. Want me to tighten up, but you ain't never playing fair. You ask me if I'm choosing my dreams over you, I say hell yeah, yeah. I know love come and goes. I got so much love I could show, but I got so much left to do. Can we roll, can we roll, can we smoke, can we talk about it like time to address the elephant in the room. Need to have a convo, been on my mind like time to address the elephant in the room. Say what's on my mind. Don't make me choose, I might piss you off. If I let you make me slip and fall. Oh, you want some compromising? Tell me what you providing. If you want some compromising, yeah. Oh, you want some compromising? Tell me what you providing. If you want some compromising, yeah. I know love come and goes. I got so much love I could show, but I got so much left to do. Can we roll, can we roll, can we smoke, can we talk about it like time to address the elephant in the room. Need to have a convo, been on my mind like
It's not that I don't want you here. Yeah, I know that I don't make things clear. No. I fall for you every time I try to resist you. We can get away. Palm trees, beach views, ordinary day. All I wanna hear is in the visions on replay. Sit right next to you. I try not to show how I feel about you. Think you wish you away, but we don't really want to. I just wanna get away and sit right next to you. I don't wanna kiss you. Yeah, I just wanna feel you. Feel you. I want you around. Around. 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 Come through, I think I need you here. What? I swear it's hard to keep these feelings to myself. Now you're the one I'm thinking of. My higher ground, my rocket low. Gravity, I'd rather stay up here. But we can get away. Palm trees, beach views, ordinary day. All I wanna hear is in the visions on replay. Sit right next to you. I try not to show how I feel about you. Think you wish you away, but we don't really want to. I just wanna get away and sit right next to you. I don't wanna kiss you. Yeah, I just wanna feel you. Feel you. I want you around. Around. I want you around. Around. I want
DJ Elegance.
I got a triple king bed and I don't mind sharing. I got a big G-Wagon, I don't mind sharing. We could get wild like Olivia, we could get stoned like Sharon. Road take care, but they push me to the point where I'm just not caring. I'm just more ready than petty nowadays. Young and in control, even when they stoop low. I see anything is anything and everything's a goal. But I already know that, and I'm just more ready than petty nowadays. Just know, young and in control, even when they stoop low. I see anything is anything, I'm watching y'all close. I'm just more ready than. I'm just more ready than petty nowadays, just know.
Yeah. Y'all don't want to question it, you just want definite. Yeah. I jump out of a relationship before I get left in it. Yeah. The sex we had remind me of the money and success a bit. Yeah. Cause even when I got it, I just gotta keep getting it.
Even when I got it, I just gotta keep getting it. Big hotel suite, I'm the only one in it. Always going back to some that I already been in. Plenty fish up in the sea, but yes, I never go fishing. We got everybody sick, sitting get well soon, and a lot of well wishes. Young and in control, even when they stoop low. I see anything is anything and everything's a goal. But I already know that, and I'm just more ready than petty nowadays. Just know, young and in control, even when they stoop low. I see anything is anything, I'm watching y'all close. I'm just more ready than. Yeah. I'm just more ready than petty nowadays, just know.
You don't want to question it, you just want definite. You try to make it right, I destroy what's left of it. Sex we have remind me of money and success a bit. Cause ever since I got it, I don't wanna stop getting it. Ever since I got it, I don't wanna stop getting it. Yeah. Big hotel suite, I'm the only one in it. Yeah, always coming back when we're done, yeah, we're already finished. Oh no, plenty fish up in the sea and a lot of go fishing. We got everybody sick, lot of get well soon, lot of well wishes. Young and in control, even when they stoop low. I see anything is anything and everything's a go. But I already know that, and I'm just more ready than petty nowadays. Just know, young and in control, even when they stoop low. I see anything is anything and everything's a go. But I already know that, and I'm just more ready than.
Chances, take them, don't make me the one that got away. Promises, don't break them. Baby,
okay, I'm reloaded.
I made you show you some, boy. So I can get to know you, boy. So let me show you some, boy. I wanna get to know you. I know you got others calling your phone whenever you're alone. But if it's really me you want, you gotta cut them off. If you get below the surface, I know you get below the surface. Yeah, I'ma have you running around, losing your mind, oh yeah. To get below the surface.
Truth is, right now, you the only one I want, babe, I'm focused. Emotions flowing. Girl, you make it so hard to control. No matter day or night, I swear you're always on my mind. You say I never be nobody else's. And
keep them out my face, you so sad.
I know you got others calling your phone whenever you're alone. But if it's really me you want, you gotta cut them off. If you get below the surface, I know you get below the surface. Girl, yeah. Running around, losing your mind, oh yeah. To get below the surface.
Baby, come give me something, oh. Yes, sir. Baby, come give me something, oh. Cause I can't stop loving, since I got a taste of your love. Baby, come give me something, oh.
God, you know who I am. Tried to be on the low, but you ain't slow. Keep my shirt open, eyes low. Get a lot of paper, I know, but you ain't into that. You like real facts. Like if you show love, you gon' get it back. Like if you good, you won't get it back. Like if you cook, want a real that. Gon' rap to that like, we can go and get a private room. We could for one night and God jump the broom. Saying chill.
Baby, come give me something, oh. Baby, come give me something, oh. Cause I can't stop loving, since I got a taste of your love. Baby, come give me something, oh. I could tell you ain't from around it. All that body, baby, it's not fair. Pull up on that, then I drop it. That's your ex, I'm dead. Looking for a real one, you found it. California king, we gon' go bounce on it. No doubt, yeah. Leave your legs shake. I might sing to that like la da da dee da. Girl, your shit so classic, it don't need no features. Ooh, yeah. Baby, come give me something, oh. Baby, come give me something, oh. Cause I can't stop loving, since I got a taste of your love. Baby, come give me something, oh.
Girl, you look just like something out of magazine. You smell great, know your body clean. Them niggas been on you since you was a teen. Now you grown up, and I'm a boss, I'm just showing love. Smell like Kush when I'm rolling up. So much bank, I can't fold it up. It's so good, got you calling up. Try and kick it with a nigga like, oh.
Baby, come give me something, oh. Baby, come give me something, oh. Cause I can't stop loving, since I got a taste of your love. Baby, come give me something, oh.
Sometimes we're insecure, we're fragile. Sometimes we lie inside each other to make ourselves feel better. Sometimes we lie, sometimes we say things that we really don't mean, but in the moment seem like the thing to do. We're all beautiful people. We're all flawed, beautiful creatures. We're all flawed, beautiful people. We're all flawed, beautiful creatures. Is it a crime if a man kills to protect his own from harm's way? Who would be the judge anyway? What would you have done if the gun was in your hands? Feet were in his shoes. Guess you'll never know what you won't do. Cause in the moment, might seem like the thing to do. Beautiful people. We're all flawed, beautiful creatures. We're all flawed, beautiful people. We're all flawed, beautiful creatures. Sometimes we gotta lose it to find it. We gotta
gotta lose. Sometimes we win. We live and why we gotta die. Oh, why?
Himalayans and bigger chains and boogers in them. And we be on yachts that we don't even post. And she be like, damn, daddy, you do it the most. Cause we did Italy, then the Philippines, speeded Billie Jean, gave her bigger D. Mommy bang aquí, rock and roll like Molly Viagra. And when I hit the road, them bodies can add up. She calling me selfish, I call her the same. Maestros don't help, but a cake and cream. Backseat of the Rolls, Teddy P, love TKO. Beat the box up, she be like, si senor. Hopping phone shorty before she got her bags up. You know me, couple cups of masked up. Colombiana, dripped in designer, dope Jake Gabbana. Brother, you know it's really not
Cause I don't see no lies behind me, yeah. Late night, I put you in drive. Cause I don't see no lies behind me, yeah.
Let me pick you up and down, ride you through the town. You belong to the city, playing in the background. Old money, new money, making it complete. All that's missing is a tiger riding in my front seat. Paid in full, how I drive it off the lot. This my Thursday car, Friday is the cherry drop. Niggas hate a lot, just do too. And every day's a vacation, sands in Cancun. And all I really want in this life is sin. Is 100 mil times 10 and somebody to share it with. You gotta be a rider though, cause real protective. We done hit so many, turning couples into exes. So maybe on the weekend I might scoop you up. Remember when I used to send them Uber trucks? Next time I'm in the club, I might just shoot it up. Give you that human touch.
Late night, I put you in drive.
I keep you in the clutch.
Cause I don't see no lies behind me, yeah. Late night, I put you in drive. Cause I don't see no lies behind me, yeah.
Look what this girl done did to me.
You are now rocking with DJ Elegance.
Wrecking the set.
She told me that those days were gone.
Yes, we on the outro.
Going half crazy.
DJ Elegance, Music is Everything podcast.
Thinks about me too. And it ain't no way in hell that I can be just friends with you. And I wish we never did it. And I wish we never loved it. And I wish I never fell so deep in love with you. And now it ain't no way we can be friends. The way it felt, no faking it. Maybe we were moving just a little too fast. But what we've done, we can't take it back. Now I'm sitting here halfway crazy. Cause I know she still thinks about me too.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in this week. Music is Everything podcast. This is how we do it each and every week. Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank everyone for rocking out Music is Everything podcast. DJ Elegance. We'll be back again next week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you then.